Welcome to Tech Train Solutions. My name is Shawn Quinn. I will be your host in this podcast. This podcast is going to talk about the essential tools for you as the electrician or the homeowner that wants to do electrical work. These are the must-haves and then should-haves. Again, my name is Shawn Quinn, and that's what we're going to be talking about today, is the different tools in which you should purchase. Now, in our world, tools are our everyday life. If you ever wanted to get in a fist fight, steal someone's tools. That's how important it's our livelihood. That's what makes our money. With tools are very essential that you buy good quality tools, not just any type of tools. When I first started working in the industry, I bought the cheap kind. I also used my grandfather's, which were pretty old, and my hands were in pain every day. Finally, a month into it, one of the guys I'm working with goes, "Look, why don't you buy Klein's?" I'm like, "What is a Klein?" I had no idea. I come from the Army. I was a waiter. I worked at Pep Boys. I had no idea what tools were. So I bought a Klein, and my hands felt great. Never felt so good after that. Buy good quality tools. Let's show you some of the tools. There's many different types. What I'm going to show you is a kit. The kit is from, let me pull it up. Oh, wrong one. The kit is from a company called WIA. WIA's tools are, I've used them in my company because they are insulated to 1,000 volts. Do realize you're not supposed to work on voltage except for testing and repairing. Testing, troubleshooting, not repairing. Repairing, you should shut off. So there is the WIA tools. If you see there, they're insulated. See the insulation on there. They're rated to 1,000 volts. It's what I have. It's a very good tool. Kit. I was Klein. I use these. Still like Klein, but my company would offer this tool for me. What you have here is T-handle Allen wrenches, specifically for an Allen type size hole. It's like an octagon shape. They're used for meters, also panels. Then you have your basic screwdrivers, all different sizes. The low ones for the smaller ones for like, small little circuits. Here's the long, thin one that's also used for smaller circuits. And here is nut drivers for different sizes. Again, you should not be using this why it's hot, except for those two issues, except for there is one other way, is because something's going to cause a catastrophic injury or death if you turn it off. That is also allowed to be used. Here is something called channel locks. Tongue and groove is another name for it. And the other one was pump pliers. Never heard the name pump pliers. These are necessary because you always have to tighten up your connectors. Also, you have to take, if you do any conduit, it's good to have it for conduit. Definitely rigid to be able to put rigid fittings on nice and tight. Here is an adjustable wrench. Recommendation is, I'll show you later, but adjustable wrench is good for a quick use. Problem is they'll slip, so make sure as you put it on there, make sure it's tight. You can slip and hurt your knuckles. Knuckle busters. This one is diagonal cutters. And this one is, I forget the name. Needle nose is here. And here's a knife for cutting installation. And two different types of alignments. This is WIA. Let's go to Klein. This is a Klein kit. I saw it from Granger. Same concept. You got your nut drivers. You got your screwdrivers. Now, the one thing didn't have, and the other one is level, tape measure, Allen keys, which it had in there, a outlet tester, GFCI, and also strippers. There's your voltage indicators, your safety glasses, razor knife, and all the different types. This is from Klein. Also the tool bag. Tool bags are necessary to carry tools. This is a backpack type. If you're going to be working in the industry and going from job to job, this might be the one for you. Now, let's go over each one again. I'm going to start with alignments. As you see here, you have many different versions of alignments. What is alignment? It's a very good tool that is really used for multiple purposes, right? What I use it for is one is for, like, if I'm doing wires, is to twist the wire nuts together. The other one I use it for is I cut good sized bolts. Also use it for twisting other heavy gauge wires. It is a very versatile tool. Let's see it. This is Klein. As you see here, they're going to show what the pliers use, how it's made. It's a process. Most of the tools are still made in America. They do have other plants in other locations. They got to stay competitive with the other companies. But this is a very good process. This is one of my main tools. My other main tool, I'll show you in a second. This one's done. Again, this is essential if you're an electrician, and you'll find out if you start using it. That is called the lineman. It is great use. I would buy a good version, not a cheap version. This is the 2000 series. You got other versions. The WIA makes one that has like almost like a certain grip that kind of gives it extra strength for cutting. It is a really good tool. I would definitely recommend the lineman. So you see there are many different versions, many different companies, but I would recommend buying a good lineman. Now this is the tool I use mostly all the time. It is called the diagonal cutter. Right aside, it is a tool I use all the time, excluding when I needed alignments. Alignments I usually use, again, for straightening up wire when it's all twisted, twisting wires. In case I had to cut some bolts, I use the alignments. But the dyno cutters, my goodness, it is my tool for daily use. You have many different versions. My personal favorite is Klein. I do have a WIA. Like I said, this is a Klein one. Again, this is so nice to have. You put a box, right, residential, and you don't want to ruin the nails, you can pull this out with ease. I use this for when I do carpentry. I pull out the nails. I use it for stripping. I don't really use a stripper. That's my old way, because when I was working residential, it's about speed, but not quality. So I got so used to using dyno cutters for stripping wires. I still use that today. I use strippers occasionally when I'm dealing with the insulation that's hard to remove. So these are dyno cutters. It's a very good use, high leverage, I would recommend. And this is a recommendation, but I would also get very close type cutters like this. What this is used for, this is not needed, but I would request you get this. Let me get rid of this. This cuts nice and close, really close. Sometimes when you do tie wraps and you break the end, it breaks very sharp. You can actually cut yourself. This gets so close it removes that obstacle. If you need to cut something really close, I would recommend this type of cutter. Okay, it says right here, flush cut, narrow. Recommendation. So dyno cutters, alignments is what we talked about so far. Now, the X part is you need screwdrivers. Screwdrivers all sizes. The bits in the Phillips world is basically called, let me pull this up. You have a number, this is hex. I don't want hex. I don't know why it's showing that. I want dyno cutters. Phillips. Right there, Phillips. All right. The Phillips screwdriver is a multiple use with different sizes. of different, like they're called different sizes. Number 3, number 1, number 3, 2, and 1. 2 is your basic type that you use everywhere. Your screw guns, that's a basic screw size. But you also have there's number 2. That's your basic size. That's a flat tip screwdriver. There he goes. Number 2, number 1, number 3. Number 3 are for the bigger screws. You will use those, so I would recommend getting that. You won't use it as much, but I would definitely recommend screwdrivers. That's a need. I would say a want is you want to get torque screwdrivers. Maybe you want to get nut drivers. Nut drivers are specific sizes, like 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/8. It goes over a nut. That's why it's nut drivers. For quick use, that way you don't have to grab the adjustable wrench. Let me put on there. All right. So it's nut drivers. You have different sizes of nut drivers. They're for different removing nuts. That's what the name is. So I see you got this is probably 3/16, 1/4 inch. Let's see, probably 3/8, 1/2 inch, 7/16, and then so on. Believe me, I would get standard, and if you could get metric. It's going to make your life a whole easier. It's going to take some room in your bag, but this will be, if you use this tool, it is a want, not a need. I would definitely recommend that tool. Okay, next one. This, if you're an electrician, a real electrician, you need a multimeter. Multimeters are there for multiple reasons. One, it helps you find the problem. Number 2, it helps you keep you in a safe condition. If you're working on a breaker or you're working on an outlet or some kind of circuit, you got to make sure it's off, it's dead. This is what you use to verify that. Use a voltage indicator just for testing, but ultimately, which is this, right? Non-contact. This is only for assumption. You're only assuming something. If this goes off, then you get your multimeter and verify. Now, what you use is you got to test that meter on a live circuit first, then check that circuit, and then afterwards check your meter again on a live circuit, just in case it failed. It happened to me. It failed in the middle of working, and I got hit and it hurt. I'm an electrician, but I'm not used to this. I still don't like getting hit. I can't stand it. Now, this is like the higher end one. What you want is like one with a clamp on, like this one, but you want to get a good one. Get to see, make sure it has a good rating. This is the generic one everybody uses, is this one. All right, this is our generic one, T5600. It has your amp probe here, and then what it does voltage, amperage, ohms. This is just for a quick search. I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of this one. I actually use other ones. If I had to, I would mainly use this one. It's more reliable. I've had it fail the other one because you want it to low. There it goes. This is what I try to get. I try to get a nice one like this. It's so much easier to use. It has all the same stuff. You can get your little metal thing to hold it. Voltage, 2 different types, millivolts, ohms, continuity. It detects diodes or capacitors. And then you got your amp probes, right? You got your amps in DC, amps in AC. Very much, I would recommend getting a meter. This is to make your life easier and good for troubleshooting. Let's go move on. So this is a want. The meter is a need. This is called a proving meter. Sometimes you don't have a power source near you. You got to walk all the way against somewhere to grab that source. This proving meter is an amazing tool. It makes my life so much easier. What it does, it gives you a power source, 240 volts. That is your live test, and then you test the circuit, and then you test with this again. You take it with you. It takes away 5 minutes, maybe 10 at the most, of frustration. Because sometimes these outlets with these tamper proofs, they're very frustrating. All right, so that's what I would recommend. And then again, your tick tracers, right? Non-contact voltage testers, very good to use. They're only for assumption. Use a meter to verification. This is also needed to save your life. So usually what I would do is I would do this to test it. Like, for example, I have a huge panel with a whole bunch of wires in there. All those wires. And what I did is I was doing demo. And all these wires in the cabinet, but I had to remove certain wires just to keep going. So I used my voltage, non-contact voltage meter to find a voltage. I kept looking through the cabinet. I finally found something that was hot, and I found it. I followed it, right? Pulled it aside. I looked again. No more hot. Everything else was dead. So I followed the circuit, used my meter with my proving meter first, and then I tested. It was hot. Then checked my proving meter again. I found it, removed it from the system, and the demo team was able to continue. Demo, how that works is they get paid by how quick they get done. So I was making the money. I was 3 to 4 weeks ahead of them. Because I knew how to verify, I knew how to find stuff. Then contractors took over, and they were no longer ahead. They fell behind almost 2 to 3 weeks. Use the tools in which I'm telling you to purchase. Okay? This is very good for your life. There's other tools I would definitely recommend. Please get socket sets and Allen keys, right? I would get long handle. Let me show you real quick. Socket sets. Cut over. So this is a socket set, and wrenches. You need this. No offense, the adjustable wrenches stink. They slip, they fall. It's good for quick use. This is the DeWalt version, but just to give you an idea, this is what you need. There's Allen keys. They come out. They're very easy to use. If you need torque, usually you grab one of your wrenches and you put around here and you get plenty of torque to remove something. But I also recommend getting T-handle Allen keys too. There's your set. You got a small one, smaller version, right? That's probably 1/4 inch. This is probably 3/8. And then you have your extensions. And also buy a screw gun extension where you can attach it to an impact, and then buy an impact socket set. That's a want. This right here is a want, but I recommend it become a need. This should be a need. Purchase this. It's going to make your life a whole bunch easier. And then you got other things that I would recommend. You want to find a circuit finder. Let's do it, a circuit finder. So why do I want a circuit finder? It's a simple reason. Sometimes you can't find a breaker. And technically you can't short out the breaker, but if you read the breaker's manufacturing, if you short out the breaker, technically you have to replace it. That's the rule. That says right on the manufacturing specs on some of these breakers. What this does is you hook up to whatever power source, because you can do this hot. And then what you use is the other one, that little one right there, it says 99, and you take it over to the panel. And you start verifying your panel to see if you can find the voltage, which breaker. And then you can set the sensitivity in case it's too high. You lower the sensitivity to find the exact breaker. If you notice, it does 480 all the way to 12 volts. There's other ones that go up to 600 volts. Up to 600 volts. No more than that, please. Don't do any more than that. This is another tool I would recommend if you're becoming an electrician in the field. I wouldn't recommend it right away. Make some money first, get into the profession, and you would greatly appreciate that. Definitely if you start doing side work on your own, you would definitely appreciate having that. There's other tools that I would also recommend, but they're a little expensive. One is a megger if you're going to do commercial industrial. Meggers are expensive though. If you're going to do a commercial industrial, I would recommend a process meter. A process meter is different, right? Process meter, the purpose is just what it says, a process. So process meters are definitely more expensive, but they're helpful. A process meter, what that is, if you're getting up further up in this world, the contractor should provide this, or the company. But if not, if you're doing side work or something, a process meter. What that means is it's a different side of electrical. It's called instrumentation. And a device turns on and off or flows some kind of product through it. If you see it where it says 20 on that, 20, that's the source that's making something move. Like, so for example, 4 milliamps would make a valve close. 20 milliamps would have the valve fully open, allowing liquid to flow. And 12 milliamps would be half closed. It's called process. This is a process meter. It is very helpful in troubleshoot
The Fluke
problems.
773 process milliamp clamp meter is great for troubleshooting without breaking the loop. The local indicator shows that the process loop in a temperature transmitter is in alarm. Once the bad signal is found, you can then use the milliamp loop troubleshooting capabilities of the 773 to isolate the fault. To troubleshoot the loop, you need to access the signal wires. Remove the cover on the transmitter and find the signal wires.
You can even go
First,
there,
clip the Fluke 773 onto one of the milliamp signal wires to make the measurement. An indication of 21 milliamps shows that, indeed, the loop is in alarm and that further troubleshooting is required. Next, substitute test the transmitter with the Fluke 773. Remove the signal wires from the transmitter and break the loop. Connect the test leads from the Fluke 773 to the transmitter wires to use the milliamp simulate function. Select milliamp simulate, then dial up the output and test the loop. The transmitter is in series with the milliamp signal as shown by the local indicator. In simulate mode, you can exercise and check the local indicator at 25% steps. You can also utilize the ramp feature and test it automatically by ramping the milliamp signal and watching it change. If the local indicator responds correctly to the milliamp simulation.
So that is further on if you get into the industrial world, into the instrumentation, which, believe me, there's a lot of jobs opening up. So I would recommend, maybe if you're looking for a career change, some are starting an apprenticeship program to get you a good idea. Look around. But that is also what I recommend. All these I recommend. Okay, they have these kits. If you're getting in the field, if you're trying to get into an apprenticeship, if you are trying to find a contractor to work for, get your basics set first and then work on the rest. You don't have to go expensive, but I recommend go with quality. You can probably get some quality stuff a little bit cheaper. Quality will save your hands. Expensive would hurt your hands. Do that. Don't forget, you need a hard hat sometimes. You're going to need gloves and safety glasses. Some contractors will supply that, but if you're working on your own or something, you buy your own. Now, if you have prescriptions, you're going to have to buy a prescription safety glasses. Right now, I have one at work. It's a safety glass that covers here, and it can handle impacts. There's a video, if you look for it, there's a nail gun being shot at a dummy, and regular glasses shatter and the eye's gone, but the safety glasses deflect and they're fine. So that's another thing I would recommend purchasing if your contractor does not get you that. There's other things that you should use, like mini screwdrivers, really small. Sometimes you got to do a ceiling fan, and the mini screwdrivers is what helps you put screws on. That's another thing I recommend. Another one is called all-in-one. It's 11 different Phillips flat tip torque all in one. It just take it apart. Has um, different things. It has socket sets in that. It's really good. It's called all in one, or 10 in one, or 11 in one. Let me put it. I'll show you. There's many different types, by the way. There's plenty of types. Let me show you this one. There's the mini I was talking about. Now this is for like panels, electrical panels, small ones. And here's the other one. It's so helpful. It gets you the job. It makes you get stuff done, because sometimes you can't carry all the tools around. This is a quick fix, quick find, and it makes your life easier. This, I would expect this would be a need, not a want. I would definitely need something like this. So that is all the tools that I have for you to go after. All right. And with that, if you have any questions or anything, contact me. I have a couple videos. One is learning how to do live test, and also locking out a breaker panel. Breakers need to be locked out if you're working in the field. Don't let your contractor talk you out of it. You should lock out if you're working on that device. Or just don't tie the panel in yet, and then you're fine. Just don't tie the panel. That'd be the last thing you do, and then you don't have to worry about lockout. So that's it with Shawn with Tech Training Solutions. This is the tools that you need and some that you should.